In the very beginning, before time as we know it, God had a plan. He sculpted the earth, filled the seas, and painted the skies. And from the very dust of this new world, he formed a man. With a gentle breath, God gave him life, and he was named Adam. God then prepared a special place, a paradise called the Garden of Eden. It was a breathtaking landscape, filled with every kind of beautiful tree and every sort of delicious fruit. Crystal-clear rivers flowed through it, and animals of all shapes and sizes roamed freely. God placed Adam in this garden, not just to enjoy it, but to tend to it, to be its caretaker. Imagine that. The first job ever was being a gardener in paradise. Adam had everything he could possibly need, yet God saw that something was missing. "It is not good for the man to be alone," God said. So while Adam was in a deep sleep, God took one of his ribs, and from it, he formed a woman. When Adam woke up and saw her, he was overjoyed. He finally had a companion, someone perfectly suited for him. He called her Eve. Together, they were the first family, living in perfect harmony with God and all of creation. In the middle of the garden stood two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God gave Adam and Eve incredible freedom. They could eat from any tree in the garden, enjoy all its fruits except one. God gave them a single clear instruction. "You must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will surely die." This wasn't about restriction. It was about trust. It was a choice to live in dependence on God's wisdom rather than their own. For a time, everything was perfect. Adam and Eve walked with God in the cool of the day, their relationship pure and unbroken. But one day, a new voice entered the garden. A serpent, more crafty than any other creature, approached Eve. He didn't start with an outright command, but with a subtle question designed to plant a seed of doubt. "Did God really say, 'You must not eat from any tree in the garden'?" he hissed. Eve corrected him. "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, 'You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die.'" She knew the rule. But the conversation was already on dangerous ground. The serpent saw his opening and went in for the kill, directly contradicting God. "You will not surely die," he lied. "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The temptation was powerful. The fruit looked good, it seemed desirable for gaining wisdom, and the serpent promised it would make her like God. The lie was more appealing than the truth she had been given. In that moment of doubt, Eve made a choice. She took the forbidden fruit and ate it. The trust was broken. She then went to Adam and gave some to him, and he ate it too. He was with her, and he chose to follow her lead instead of God's. Instantly, something changed. It wasn't a sudden burst of divine power. Instead, their eyes were opened, but not in the way they expected. They saw their own nakedness, and for the first time they felt shame. The pure, innocent connection they had was replaced by fear and vulnerability. They frantically gathered fig leaves and tried to cover themselves, attempting to hide their shame from each other and, ultimately, from God. Later that day, they heard the sound of God walking in the garden. But this time, instead of running to greet him, they ran to hide. Can you imagine trying to hide from the one who created you? The one who knows everything? God called out, "Adam, where are you?" God wasn't asking for information. He knew where Adam was. He was giving Adam a chance to confess, to come out of hiding. Adam's reply was filled with fear. "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God's next question went straight to the heart of the matter. "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" The moment of truth had arrived, but instead of taking responsibility, Adam blamed Eve. "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Then, when God turned to Eve, she blamed the serpent. "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." The beautiful unity between them was shattered, replaced by blame and division. The consequences were severe. God first addressed the serpent, cursing him to crawl on his belly and be an enemy to humanity. But within this curse was a glimmer of hope, a promise that one day a descendant of Eve would crush the serpent's head. Then, God explained the painful consequences for Eve and Adam. For Eve, pain in childbirth and a fractured relationship with her husband. For Adam, the ground was cursed. Tending the garden, which was once a joy, would now be hard, sweaty labor. And finally, the ultimate consequence they were warned about: death. They would now return to the dust from which they were made. Their disobedience brought separation, hardship, and mortality into the world. But even in this moment of judgment, God showed incredible mercy. He saw their pathetic attempt to cover their shame with fig leaves, which would wither and fall apart. So God himself made them garments of skin, durable coverings that required a sacrifice. This was the first sign that although their sin required a price, God would be the one to provide a way to cover their shame. It was a painful yet loving act. Then came the final heartbreaking consequence. To prevent them from eating from the tree of life and living forever in their separated, broken state, God sent them out of the Garden of Eden. He placed mighty angelic beings, cherubim, and a flaming sword to guard the way back. The perfect communion was over. They were exiled from paradise, from the immediate presence of God. Their story is our story. It's a story of how one act of disobedience, one choice to trust ourselves over God, can lead to separation and pain. But it's also a story overflowing with hope. From the very beginning, even in the midst of judgment, God was already laying the groundwork for a rescue plan. That promise made in the garden, that the serpent's head would be crushed, was a foreshadowing of Jesus, who would one day come to defeat sin and death for good. The garments of skin pointed to the ultimate sacrifice he would make, providing a permanent covering for our sin. The gate to Eden was closed, but God didn't abandon humanity. He immediately started working on a new way, a path back to him. The story of Adam and Eve isn't just an ancient tale. It is the foundation of why we all feel that sense of something being broken in the world and why we all have a deep longing for redemption and to return home. Their story shows us that even when we make the biggest mistakes, God's mercy is bigger, and he is always making a way back to him. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.